Curiously, Krishna Kali searched Leslie's fierce green eyes, trying to decipher the grim shadows lurking within them. She could not tell whether her words had softened his heart or driven him into deeper fury. His massive body pressed down on hers, heavy and unyielding. His breath came hot and fast, mingling with hers as he hovered over her. She was trapped beneath him, pinned by his weight, imprisoned within the iron cage of his powerful arms. "Why do you like me?" he finally asked. His voice was low, sharp, demanding an answer. I don't know, but I've always wanted to be the woman of a commanding man like you, just you, Lord Leslie." Her voice broke into sobs. His fingers were still digging mercilessly into her injured shoulder. For a long moment, Leslie studied her. Those glittering green eyes searched her face as though weighing every word she had spoken. Then he spoke harshly. "I know you plan to seduce me, Krishna Kali." "Oh no, Leslie. Shut the hell up." The roar of his voice cracked through the room. "You wanted this," he snarled. "That's why you came here, hiding behind Audrey's replacement as an excuse." His eyes flashed dangerously. "If not, why the hell did you come here in no bra and panties, huh?" The question struck Krishna Kali like a slap. Her mind went blank. She had never imagined he could be this ruthless with her. Under the crushing weight of his glare, her red lips parted to speak, but no sound came out. "Answer my goddamn question," he snapped. His hand seized her shoulders and shook her violently. I didn't plan to seduce you, Lord Leslie. I just came prepared." "Came prepared, you say?" he exploded. His voice thundered through the room. "How dare you?" I'm so sorry, Leslie," she whimpered. Her gray eyes shimmered with fear. Leslie glared into those watery eyes for a long, burning moment. Then suddenly, he shoved her aside. Krishna Kali fell beside him on the bed, stunned. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Never in her life had a man rejected her like this. No man had ever pushed her away, not when she was wearing a dress like that. He was right. She had come to seduce him. But damn it, she had failed. Again. Leslie's breathing remained rough and rapid. He slipped on his headset and turned away from her, focusing coldly on his laptop. The quiet dismissal stung more deeply than his anger. For the first time in her life, Krishna Kali felt something she had never known before. Rejection. And it hurt. This man was no joke. Leslie Russel was not someone easily pleased or easily controlled. What had she done? Had she just ruined everything? The night dragged on in heavy silence. Leslie neither touched her nor spoke to her again. Rain lashed the windows and cold wind seeped through the curtains, filling the room with a bitter chill. Though Krishna Kali had barely anything on, she did not dare leave the bed while Leslie worked on his laptop. Her sleeveless gown offered no warmth at all. She shivered violently beneath the cold breeze. But Leslie remained utterly indifferent. At exactly 5 in the morning, he finally spoke. "Leave." Audrey had fallen asleep while working on the documents. Suddenly, she jolted awake with a start. Damn, had she overslept? Her eyes widened in alarm. The documents weren't finished yet. Oh God. She sighed heavily, running her fingers through her hair as she yawned. Then she grabbed her phone. The moment she saw the time, her breath caught in her throat. 6 o'clock. Oh my God. She blinked rapidly, trying to shake off the last traces of sleep. Then, the office door creaked open. Audrey's heart leapt violently into her throat. A burning knot twisted in her stomach. When Leslie stepped inside, icy chills raced down her spine. Her hands began trembling uncontrollably on the keyboard. Her body stiffened. Her chest tightened painfully, as though the air had been sucked from her lungs. His presence alone was enough to suffocate her. Her heart hammered brutally against her ribs. Tears welled in her eyes. She blinked, and they spilled down her flushed cheeks. He had arrived earlier than she had feared. Leslie was in the middle of an intense phone call when he stormed in, slamming the door shut behind him. One hand slid into his pocket as he strode past her. His powerful masculine scent filled the room. His brows were drawn together. His green eyes burned with fury. He wore a white long-sleeve shirt without a tie, black pants, and glittering silver shoes. Audrey's lips parted, intending to greet him, but he was too furious to notice her. His attention was entirely on the KL. Like a robot, Audrey quickly gathered the printed documents into a file. Only a few pages remained to print. Oh God! She had to move faster. Jumping up from her chair, she wiped the tears from her cheeks. Clutching the file tightly to her chest, she quietly shut the door and turned toward Leslie. He sat at his desk now, elbows resting on the table, face buried in his palms. The sight struck her heart with a painful memory. Their first date. She remembered the day she had walked into his office for the first time at Leslie Russel's paradise. She had been so shy then, especially when she met those dazzling green eyes. Audrey swallowed hard. Forcing the memory away, she approached his desk. A heavy knot twisted inside her stomach. Good morning, sir," she stammered. Without lifting his head, Leslie replied coldly. "What is it?" I've wrapped up the documents, sir." He exhaled slowly. Then his voice hardened. "What did I tell you about those documents before leaving yesterday?" Fury coated every word. Fresh tears filled Audrey's eyes. "You said the documents should be on your table B before you arrived this morning. So what happened then?" His voice was ice cold. Still, he did not look up. Audrey's throat tightened with panic. She couldn't speak. "I said what happened," he thundered suddenly, raising his blazing eyes. "Audrey." She jerked violently at the sound of her name. I'm so sorry, sir." "Sorry," he snapped. "If there's one thing I love, it's accuracy. Freaking accuracy." His ring-covered fingers drummed sharply against the desk. "But you're absurd, useless, and completely gross." The words cut through her like knives. Each one tore deeper into her heart. It will never re-repeat itself," she stammered. Leslie blew out a breath. For a fleeting moment, Audrey almost called him Leslie. She wanted to remind him about their first date. She wanted to tell him how much she had missed him, how many sleepless nights she had spent worrying about him while he lay unconscious in the hospital. The thought made her eyes sting with fresh tears, but she forced them back. "Don't do this, Audrey," she thought, desperately wanting to fall into his powerful arms. But she couldn't. "What the hell are you still standing here for?" he barked. "Get your freaking self out of my sight this instant." Audrey flinched. Quietly, she placed the file on his desk. Leslie immediately pulled it toward him. Her heart pounded wildly as he flipped through the pages. "Please, God, don't let me mess this up. Get out of my sight," he thundered again, shoving the papers aside as he grabbed his phone. All right, sir." Audrey turned and left the office. The moment she stepped out and closed the door, she froze. A blonde lady was sitting at her desk. Audrey blinked. Wait, what? Who was she? And what was she doing there? "Hey, may I help you?" Audrey asked cautiously. The woman lifted her head. She had ocean blue eyes and perfect pink lips, almost like a Barbie doll. "Perhaps you need mine," the blonde lady replied smoothly. Audrey frowned and said, What do you mean? You're Audrey, aren't you?" Yes, I am. Is there a problem? Don't tell me this is the new secretary, she thought. At that moment, the office door opened again. Audrey looked up. Her heart nearly stopped. Krishna Kali and Mackenzie. Am I getting fired? Audrey thought in terror. Hello, Audrey, Mackenzie greeted. You're no longer Leslie's secretary. Krishna Kali cut her off coldly. What? Audrey gasped. Krishna Kali rolled her eyes. But he hasn't fired me yet. Oh, Mackenzie didn't tell you, Krishna Kali sneered, scanning Audrey from head to toe. You wretched little trash. Audrey looked helplessly toward Mackenzie. She only shrugged. Mackenzie, she whispered. I just spoke to the boss. He didn't fire me. Krishna Kali smirked. There's nothing more satisfying than seeing your face like this. Leslie doesn't waste his time talking to cowards. Audrey gasped. You may excuse me now, blockhead, Krishna Kali said dismissively. Come on, Shada, let's go see your new boss. Audrey stepped aside numbly as they walked past her and entered Leslie's office. The door shut behind them. Her lashes fluttered. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She had never been this shocked before. Look, Audrey, Mackenzie began carefully. Audrey. Mackenzie, Audrey sobbed. Look, I don't know what the hell is going on here. Noticing Mackenzie approaching his desk, Leslie slowly lifted his head and leaned back in his chair, his piercing green eyes narrowing slightly. Good morning, sir. Mackenzie spoke cautiously. Leslie raised a brow. Please, sir, should Audrey leave now? She asked quietly. Leave, Leslie repeated, his brow still raised. What do you mean leave? I'm sorry, sir. I thought you had fired her, Mackenzie replied. Leslie's brows immediately drew together. Krishna Kali watched him closely, anticipation gleaming in her eyes. Did I tell you she was fired? Leslie asked coldly. His voice dropped dangerously. Answer my goddamn question. Sir, I thought. I need a yes or no to my freaking question, Mackenzie. Leslie snapped sharply, cutting her off. No, sir, Mackenzie stammered, lowering her gaze to the files scattered across Leslie's desk. Then why the hell should she leave? Leslie demanded fiercely. I only said I needed a replacement. He paused, inhaling slowly as if restraining his temper. She isn't fired. His voice hardened again. I just want to punish her for being silly. Leaning back in his chair, he added with brutal finality. She will clean my office and run errands for Shada. Cop it, sir, Mackenzie replied immediately. Beside her, Krishna Kali rolled her eyes in silent irritation. You ain't fired, Audrey, Mackenzie announced the moment she stepped out of Leslie's office. Audrey gasped. I'm not fired. Her wide eyes sparkled with disbelief. Across the room, Shada sat with her arms folded, silently observing the entire exchange. He said you'll be cleaning his office and running errands, Mackenzie explained. Although the idea of becoming a cleaner stunned Audrey, a wave of relief flooded through her chest. At least she still had a job. So where am I sitting? She asked cautiously. Mackenzie shrugged. You'll just hang around here, but you must always be around so you can be found when duty calls. She tilted her head. Not too hard, right? Then her tone became more serious. But you'll have to resume work as early as 4 o'clock sharp, so you can join the other cleaners. Audrey blinked. 4 o'clock. The boss's office is your main duty post, Mackenzie continued. Be careful, Audrey, and try not to get into trouble with him again. After addressing Audrey, Mackenzie turned to Shada and began giving instructions. You'll also take files from my office to Shada, Audrey, she said. Shada, you're responsible for the boss's lunch, 1:30 sharp. With that, Mackenzie left the office and work resumed. 4 o'clock sharp. Audrey's mind reeled. Would that even be possible? She wasn't even sure her come back to work tomorrow. After all, she hadn't gone home yesterday. The previous cleaner used to tidy Leslie's office constantly, going in and out every few minutes to keep everything perfect. And now that responsibility belonged to her. Despite how dreadful it sounded, she couldn't deny it. She liked the position. At least she would get to see Leslie's face every day. Hell, Audrey sighed deeply. Seated across the room, Audrey kept stealing glances at Shada. "Hey, commoner," Shada suddenly said lazily. "Make sure you clean my desk properly. I'm allergic to dirt." She raised an eyebrow mockingly. "I've heard commoners like you are pretty hardworking." Audrey stiffened. "War what?" she asked unsteadily. "Did you just call me a commoner?" "Of course," Shada replied coolly. "What else would you be?" Audrey opened her mouth to respond, but the office door creaked open. Both women straightened immediately. Leslie stepped out of his office. His attention was fixed on his phone as he strode past them without a glance. "Goodbye, boss," Shada called brightly. Leslie didn't respond. Audrey frowned slightly. "If you don't want to get fired in 2 seconds," she said quietly, "don't tease him like that. He doesn't like it." "Wow." Krishnekali's icy voice sliced through the room. "You make a good wife for him then." "Wife?" Shada scoffed. She glanced Audrey up and down with blatant disdain. Commoners like her could never match a man like him. Krishnekali burst into laughter. "You're right, Shada," she said mockingly. "Commoner." She smirked. Funny how that word slipped my mind all this time. Audrey stood frozen. Her throat tightened painfully as tears stung her eyes. She bit down hard on her lower lip, fighting desperately to keep the tears from falling. Memories surged through her mind. She remembered the first time she had been with Leslie in his other office, the way he had once asked if anyone had ever belittled her. He had hated the word commoner. Back then, he had defended her. God, how she wished she could speak to him the way she once did. Taking advantage of Leslie's absence, Audrey quietly checked his office. It was already spotless. Apart from checking the time earlier that morning, her phone had remained switched off. She wondered anxiously what would happen when she returned home. Her whole body felt itchy and uncomfortable. She hadn't even taken a bath. Sitting a few chairs away from Shada, Audrey pulled out her phone and turned it on. A message appeared immediately. From Wilbur. Her stomach dropped as she read it. "You have one last chance to marry me. Refuse, and you will face the consequences. I will make you regret it." Audrey's eyes widened in horror. Leslie never returned to the office that day. By the time the clock struck 6:30 in the evening, Shada had already finished her duties and left. Her efficiency made Audrey secretly jealous. She hated the thought of someone else impressing Leslie. While sweeping Leslie's office, the door opened again. Mackenzie walked in carrying a small bag. "This contains your uniform," she said, handing it to Audrey. "Wear the blue one tomorrow." "Thanks," Audrey replied softly. Though deep down, she wasn't even sure she would be able to return the next day. By the time Audrey left the building, only the security guards and a few cleaners remained. She had no money on her, so she borrowed some from a colleague and took a taxi home. When the taxi dropped her at her street, her heart began pounding violently. The neighborhood looked darker than usual. It felt like she hadn't been home for years. Working with Leslie felt like living in another world entirely. As she walked through the dim street, an uneasy feeling crawled over her skin. She glanced behind her nervously. Was someone watching her? But the street remained empty. Silent. Still. "Audrey, where the hell have you been?" Patrick's furious voice exploded the moment she stepped inside. Audrey froze. Her eyes widened in shock. She had never expected to see him. Dad, I. Before she could finish. Slap. His hand struck her face. Slap. The second blow came even harder. Audrey cried out in pain. The stench of alcohol filled the air. Patrick was drunk. Pa Patrick, what have you done? Valerie cried weakly from the bed. She had been beaten so badly that she couldn't even stand. You should have asked what happened before hitting her. Shut up, Valerie, Patrick roared. He grabbed Audrey's arm violently. Now tell me why you didn't come home last night. His eyes burned with drunken rage. Was it because you were trying to run away from Wilbur? Patrick's grip tightened around Audrey's arm. No, Dad, I wasn't trying to run from Wilbur, Audrey whimpered, her voice trembling. Then where the hell were you? Patrick roared, violently shaking her. Oh my God, Patrick, stop, Valerie cried from the bed. Stop hurting my daughter. Your daughter, huh? Patrick spat furiously. Your damn daughter. His fist slammed into Audrey's back. She screamed in agony. Oh, Patrick, please stop, Valerie begged helplessly. But Patrick ignored her completely. I know the two of you planned this, he shouted. You and your stupid daughter planned to run away from marrying Wilbur. His voice thundered through the small room. Do you even understand what this marriage means? He barked. This marriage will change our goddamn lives. Patrick drew deeply from his cigarette, then exhaled thick smoke through his mouth and nostrils. His eyes burned with suspicion. Or did you go meet that damn stranger, huh? He growled harshly. His gaze suddenly dropped to the bag Audrey was clutching. And what the hell is in this bag? He yanked it from her hands. Turning it upside down, he dumped everything onto the floor. Several polo shirts scattered across the dirty tiles. Patrick stared down at them. What are these clothes? He demanded coldly. What the hell are they? They're mine, my work clothes, Audrey sobbed. Her cheeks still burned from the earlier slaps, and her vision blurred with tears. Work clothes, Patrick repeated in stunned disbelief. Valerie slowly pushed herself up on the bed. Wait, you're working now? She asked weakly. Stop pretending you didn't know, Patrick snapped, glaring sharply at Valerie. Dad, I'm sorry I didn't tell you both, Audrey stuttered, tears streaming down her flushed face. You had already gone out before I got the message. Oh, honey, Valerie murmured softly. But Patrick's anger only intensified. Then why the hell were you out all night, you liar? He shouted. He grabbed Audrey's face roughly, squeezing her cheeks. She winced in pain. It isn't a lie, she stammered. Listen carefully, you idiot, Patrick snarled. I don't care where the hell you went. His voice turned cold and merciless. But from today onward, you are not stepping a single damn foot outside this room. Audrey gasped. Her eyes widened in terror. Dad, please. Come on, Patrick, Valerie said shakily. What about the work clothes? Patrick exhaled smoke through his nostrils again, his face flushed with fury. I messed up at work yesterday, Audrey whispered through trembling sobs. And then my boss punished me. She had never intended to reveal where she worked. But now she had no choice. The name alone would terrify her father. I would have quit, she continued weakly, but I can't, Dad. Patrick's expression darkened. What the hell do you mean you can't? He demanded. Audrey swallowed hard. I work at LR Tech Limited. Patrick frowned in confusion. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Audrey hesitated, then forced the words out. Leslie Russel, the Mafia. Leslie Russel, both parents exclaimed at once. Yes, Audrey whispered, her tear-filled eyes glistening. Patrick stood frozen. His lips parted slightly, as shock overtook his drunken rage. Dad, I'm sorry, Audrey cried. It won't be easy to just quit like that. Damn, Patrick muttered under his breath, placing his hands on his waist as the cigarette burned between his lips. How did you even get into a place like that, Audrey? I applied to be his secretary, she said quietly, and somehow it worked. Her voice trembled. He was the one who bought me all those clothes and the other things. What? Patrick's brows shot up. Really? Valerie gasped. Patrick's shock quickly twisted back into rage. Then I was right about you, he shouted. You're trying to run away from Wilbur. No, Dad. Shut your mouth, Patrick barked. If not, why the hell would you apply to work in his company, huh? He leaned closer. Audrey, did you even listen to yourself? Isn't it obvious what you're doing? Audrey trembled violently. Sweat coated her skin as panic tightened around her chest. Her heart pounded painfully. How could she just quit? If she did that, Leslie would find her, and he would destroy her. But Dad, she stuttered desperately, you'll have to give me at least a week or two to quit. Her voice shook uncontrollably. Just so I don't get into trouble with my boss. It could affect all of us. Patrick stared at her coldly. 1 week, he said. Just 1 damn week, Audrey. His voice hardened further. And that's only if Wilbur doesn't fix the wedding before then. What? Audrey gasped. Wedding? You're getting married to Wilbur, Patrick said flatly. Like it or not. More tears streamed down Audrey's burning cheeks. Her gaze slowly fell to the polo shirts scattered across the floor. This felt worse than a nightmare. Later that night, Audrey spread her blanket on the cold floor while her parents slept on the bed. Lying there in the darkness, silent tears slid from her swollen eyes. Everything had become unbearably complicated. Marriage to Wilbur. Was he really planning to fix a wedding date without her consent? It couldn't be real. Her body trembled as quiet sobs shook her chest. Wilbur had warned her. He said she would regret rejecting him. And somehow, she believed him. After all, her father owed him a huge sum of money. But Audrey still wondered what Patrick had even used that money for. There was no one to protect her. No one who truly cared. And now, Leslie, I wish you had recognized me, she thought bitterly. None of this would have happened. Fresh tears slipped down her cheeks. If only she had the courage to tell Leslie everything. This was abuse. This was injustice. She needed someone powerful. Someone strong enough to stand against men like Wilbur. Someone like her boss, Leslie Russel. Even though she barely understood him, she believed in his authority, his power. But he hated her. That much was painfully clear. He treated her with cruelty. And the thought that he might never remember her, never love her again, terrified her. What if he had never loved her at all? Maybe he had only helped her out of pity. Audrey. Her mother's voice suddenly broke the silence. Audrey quickly wiped her face. I've been listening to you cry for hours, Valerie whispered. Patrick was already snoring loudly beside her. Did you say Lord Leslie bought you those clothes? Valerie asked softly. Yes, Mom, Audrey replied shakily. The room was pitch dark, so neither of them could see the other. Valerie sighed deeply. Audrey, I know I haven't been the kind of mother you deserve. Her voice trembled with regret. I've been out of my mind for years, mistreating you, judging you, doing all kinds of terrible things. She swallowed painfully. But I will never blame you for the choices you make. Audrey froze. Her mother had never spoken to her like this before. Not once. Look, Audrey, I'm not trying to force you to tell me everything, Valerie continued slowly. Her voice faltered as painful memories resurfaced. "But I care about you, I truly do." She began sobbing quietly. "I've always wanted the best for you. I just didn't know how to show it." She sniffled. "I was too busy resenting your father." Her voice hardened with bitterness. "Knowing him was the biggest mistake of my life. And I took all that anger out on you. I'm so sorry, my darling." Audrey broke down completely. Years of buried pain flooded out of her. Dropping out of school, the bullying, the humiliation, the trauma, everything. "I'm truly sorry," Valerie whispered again. "I just want you to trust me, Audrey, please." She paused. "And honestly, I don't want you to marry Wilbur." Her voice grew grave. "That man doesn't love you. He only wants to punish you and control you. He's furious right now. And if he marries you, I can only imagine the hell he'll put you through." Mom, will he really fix a wedding?" Audrey asked shakily. "I'm afraid he might," Valerie admitted quietly. "I don't want you to suffer the way I suffered with your father." Then Audrey pulled out her phone. "While I was at work today, he sent me this message." She showed Valerie Wilbur's threat. Valerie inhaled sharply. "He came here too," she said in a low voice, "threatening us. Turn off the light so your father doesn't wake up." Then she asked carefully, "Audrey, do you love Leslie?" For a long moment, Audrey remained silent. Finally, she whispered, "Yes, Mom, I do." She slowly told her mother everything. How she met Leslie, the accident, his memory loss. "Oh, sweetheart," Valerie murmured sadly. She reached for Audrey's hand in the darkness. "I'm so sorry. The thing is, I don't understand why he hates me so much," Audrey cried softly, pressing her mother's palm against her tear-stained face. "I thought he would recognize me, but he never did. And now he wants to punish me for being awkward." "Punish you?" Valerie asked in surprise. "Yes." Audrey began explaining what working at the company had been like. Valerie listened carefully. Then she murmured thoughtfully, "That Krishna Kali girl.